everybody's job. Whatever can we do? What's going to happen to us? I have a few solutions. Let's talk about it, shall we? But first, I am Shaquila, aka the Professor Bay, aka I'm pursuing a doctorate in business administration, and I'm qualified to talk to you about this type of information. And this video is being brought to you by Black Girl Magic Masters LLC, where we're on a straight up mission to help restore communities financially. And I'm willing to do it one motherfunking person at a time if I have to, but let's get into this. Whatever should we do if AI takes all of our jobs and wages? Let's talk about it. Let's break down the fear barrier. But according to an article in Forbes, will AI make universal basic income inevitable? That is the question that Forbes is posing. Then the article goes on to explain, if I told you that AI was going to make humans redundant and cause widespread unemployment, you probably think that's a bad thing, right? Right? But what if the reality is that it's going to make work unnecessary and provide all the basic necessities for us to live comfortable lives without having to work? That's the thinking behind the idea that AI will be the catalyst for the introduction of Universal Basic Income, UBI for short. According to this article in Forbes, the logic goes something like this. If AI can write software, draft legal documents, and drive cars and diagnose illnesses today, what will it be capable of in 20, 30, even 50 years' time? Advocates are arguing that not only will AI make it necessary to provide some form of UBI, but it will also be the technology leap that makes it possible. But does this idea hold any water, or is it just some kind of far-fetched or, highly optimistic thinking? Well, let's get into it. So what is universal basic income? Well, it's a way that we can address income inequality in this country, See, universal basic income, UBI, it's a government program that provides regular, unconditional cash payments to every individual, regardless of their income, assets, or employment status. Now, designed to ensure a minimum standard of living, it aims to reduce poverty and stabilize households. It is characterized as periodic, cash-based, universal, individual, and unconditional. And this is according to Wikipedia and Google's Gemini, right? Now, some key characteristics and goals of the UBI is that it's going to empower individuals and basically improve well-being. But the key characteristics is that it's unconditional. Unlike traditional welfare, UBI has no work requirements or means testing. Another key characteristic is universal and individual. Payments will go to every person, typically at an individual level rather than per household. And then another characteristic is it would be regular payments distributed on a recurring basis, example like monthly, rather than as just a one-time grant. Now, also, another characteristic is that it has a goal. The goal is to provide financial security, reduce inequality, and potentially address economic disruption from automation. Think stimulus payments. Y'all remember when we received stimulus payments a few years back under George Bush? Yeah, think like that. Now, according to this article in Forbes, UBI is different from welfare. However, As it's available to everyone, regardless of their wealth, employment status, or income, proponents say that ensuring a basic standard of living for everyone would alleviate many other problems, including ill health, crime, and homelessness. Critics, however, say it could basically lower the incentive to work and result in a decline in enterprise and productivity. Now, experiments with UBI in the United States go back as far as the 1960s, and more recently, there have been limited scale pilots in countries including Finland and Canada. But again, like I said, remember the stimulus payments? Now, some common misconceptions and variations, according to the Arlington Community Foundation and CNBC, is guaranteed income, often confused with UBI. But guaranteed income is usually targeted only at specific low income populations rather than being universal. Another common misconception and variation is cost. Implementing a full UBI, Universal Basic Income System, is widely regarded as extremely expensive, potentially exceeding the cost of the current major social safety nets and programs that we already have right now. Moving right along. Now, we need to address the root of the cause of UBI, the elephant in the room. The structural reform that would be needed, okay? Because needing universal basic income, namely addressing income inequality and technological displacement, center on building human capital, reforming tax systems to boost take-home pay, and implementing a robust workforce and training program. See, these reforms aim to strengthen economic participation and enhance individual capacity to adapt to new market conditions rather than relying solely on income transfers. Now, that's according to the economicstrategygroup.org and George W. Bush Presidential Center. Now, expanding tax credits, that's one way of addressing the root cause of UBI. Because reforming and expanding the earned income tax credit to providing higher tax-free cash-like payments to low-income workers, that'll work. Workforce education and training. Investing heavily in career and technical education to equip workers with skills needed for an economy that's transformed by automation and AI. 3, subsidized care and infrastructure, providing universal subsidized child care and education to reduce living costs and enable labor force participation. Finally, modernizing social safety nets, basically shifting towards automated, unconditional, and direct cash payments in social safety net programs to reduce administrative burdens and avoid the benefits cliff. And we can very well do that using AI to implement a UBI system. How about that? Using evil for good. Basically, implementing a universal basic income system enhanced by AI would involve funding it through AI automation tax on productivity gains, utilizing AI for efficient, fraud-resistant distribution, and pairing it with AI-driven retraining programs. This approach directly links AI-driven wealth generations to social safety nets. Right? I mean, some key components of AI-driven UBI systems is funding mechanism, the AI tax, where we implement taxes on AI-driven automation such as labor equivalent tax on robots or software that replaces human labor and treats AI productivity as a taxable workforce. Also, administrative efficiency. AI can streamline the distribution of funds and verify eligibility and detect fraudulent activities in real time. We can target support. AI systems can identify regions or populations most impacted by job displacements and prioritize them for aid. We can transition to a new economy and use AI to identify emerging job sectors and create personalized training programs, moving workers towards fields like healthcare and technology. Listen, it is possible, but do not be fearful of this new technology, is my whole point. And as I continue to pursue this doctorate in business, I can work to make sure that this actually happens. Thanks for paying attention, you guys. You guys are so smart. That's why y'all my Apex Scholars. Bye.